Okay, so with that, then parents who might be thinking, maybe I'm going through this, you see that there are eight behaviors that children also exhibit when there's parental alienation going on. Can you give us some examples? Maybe not all eight, but the most frequent ones that you see?
Sure. So campaign of denigration is the first one. And, that means the child is not just upset with the parent, because all kids get upset, but like hostile, rejecting, arrogant, entitled, like upset to, on steroids. And the thing about the campaign of denigration is it's not just that the kid's very upset, it's they're gleeful and just spreading the word about how disgusting and horrible their parent is. That's the campaign part, right? Most kids, if their parent is, embarrassing or hurtful in some way, they're very private. Kids don't want to say, oh, my mother's a drunk or my father's sleeping around or whatever, right? They don't, that's not sort of naturally where kids come to, or my parent hit me. Most kids do not reveal that they are being abused. But alienated kids go out of their way to tell all sorts of people just how horrible and disgusting their parent is. And part of the campaign of denigration, I think about it as past, present, and future. With respect to the past, they will deny the prior positive relationship. If you asked a severely alienated child, tell me one fun time you had with mom, if mom's the targeted parent, they will say, never, I never had a good time. And you can show them a picture. Well, you look like you're having a good time here. And like, no, I was faking it, or that's not me. That's my twin who, somebody else who looks like me. I never had a good time with that parent. So that's the past, the present, hostile, arrogant, entitled, very, very cruel towards the targeted parent. And then the future. If you ask an alienated child, well, what could mom do to make things right? How could mom fix things to have a better relationship with you? The kids will say, there's nothing. I have no interest in ever having a relationship with that parent. And that's very, very different than kids who have actually been abused, for example, who say, well, I just want mom to stop drinking, or, bringing her violent boyfriend into the house or whatever. They don't write off a parent. It takes an enormous amount of pain inflicted on a child to want to write off a parent. But alienated kids sort of glibly, easily will write off a parent. So that's the campaign of denigration. The next one is frivolous reasons. If you ask an alienated child, well, why do you not want to ever see your father again? Oh, he slurps his soup. His shoes are funny. I don't like the thread count of the sheets in his house. His car smells like coffee. These are real examples. I'm not making this up. I couldn't make up something frivolous enough, because the reasons these kids give are just bizarrely trivial. And a third, and then I'll stop after that, is lack of ambivalence, meaning most kids have mixed feelings about both of their parents. Most kids can think of something they like and something they don't like about both mom and dad. But alienated kids can only see the good in the favored parent and only see the bad in the targeted parent, even when objectively speaking, the favored parent is clearly flawed. As an example, I had a case where the favored parent did not take the child to the emergency room after he broke his wrist, which you can imagine was pretty painful, because she wanted to go out to dinner with her boyfriend. And the kid had no problem with that. But, dad shows up 10 minutes early and it's like, see what a monster he is. So those are just 3 of the 8 behavioral manifestations.
So, looking at early childhood, middle childhood, and teen years, which age group is more susceptible to giving into the parental alienation? Is it all, or is it that the teenagers are more likely to, think more critically to say, that's not how my dad is, that's not how my mom is, but the ones in early childhood are not able to do that? Is there a difference regarding age who is more susceptible?
Well, I don't have research on this, but I will say, as a developmental psychologist, kids below a certain age, and I'm just going to randomly say like 3, but it could actually be a little bit older, they can't really easily become alienated because they just can't remember what they're supposed to believe, and they just live a little bit more in the moment. Now the exception to that is you can actually instill a phobia in like a very young child. So it would be possible to turn a child against a parent, but it's harder. I mean, you have to be sort of a really skilled alienator to do it. We used to think, as you said, oh, teenagers, they know what's what, they know the parent who can, but in fact, many teenagers do get alienated. They're more easy to buy off because they want more things, new cars and fancy whatever, but also the courts allow kids to state their preference once they get to be a certain age. In some states, it's 12, in some it's 16. There's no consistency across the states. So when parents are in conflict and the conflict is taken to the court, the judge is supposed to decide based on what's in the best interest of the child. And every state in the United States has a list of what is the defining characteristics of best interest of the child. And that list is different from state to state. But in every state, the preference of the child is one of the factors. And so alienating parents know to step up the alienation pressure at the point at which that child reaches that age, because the courts are less likely to make a child of that age go to a parent they don't want to go to. The analogy that I think of is if somebody robbed a bank, nobody would say, oh, the money's comfortable in his pocket. Oh, he can get to keep it, right? Because money is an object, it doesn't have feelings.
Yes.
But if somebody takes a child, and I'm not even talking about kidnapping, it could just be, you know, oh, Johnny's not coming with you on Saturday, even though it's your parenting time. That parent keeps the child. The judge doesn't automatically say, now, parent, don't do that, you return the child. Now the judge says, what's best for the child? Maybe the child would be better off with that parent. And so alienators know that, and they know that once the kid's a certain age, the judge will factor in the preference of the child. That's why teenagers are so likely to get alienated.
Okay, I definitely see that.